want me to explain that again?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Right here you can see the previous floor that this table is used, where the blockout was. You can see that's probably about a half inch off. So when we're laying that out, if we're, let's say we're significantly off like a couple inches, then we know that either we measured wrong or something's wrong. So that's a good indicator and it's a good check for ourselves to make sure that it's on. And you can see, I mean, as far as east-west goes, that's right on.
Yep.
So it's pretty close, and that's usually what we see. I think we usually see the movement in the north and south direction.
North-south could also be where our column was located. If one column was north a quarter, and on this table, say it was south quarter, those jacks rest on our columns. So if it shifts, kind of might shift to where our control line is last floor.
It might. They've got a little play in their column jacks,
yeah,
but not a lot. There's a natural place the table wants to sit on them, so it's naturally going to sit on that same place every time.
And the sequence we try to get up here is they fly the tables the day after we pour it. We set a maturity meter in to make sure the strength's okay. Then once they have all this filled in, we start drilling our dots up from the floor below that we showed you guys previously, and we give them the same offsets on every floor right here for them to go to. And then
you can actually see a drilled up hole right there. That's how we drill them up. And so we snap through them. And you can see this is where the old line was. We spray paint over it for last time we brought it up. So that's another check too. If you're off significantly there's something wrong too.
Yeah, and I mean you can see the white paint there because normally we're so close and we're bringing up rough control.
You've got to paint over there.
You got to
just
paint
be
over
one big fat line.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want the confusion to be there.
So as far as control for our MEP, we're running one center line here, down each wing, and then every column bay you've got one line as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much we got our offsets that were predetermined before I got here. I know when they decided that. I think it's kind of what like this offset right here is our corridor offset, so it works out well for our drywall and everything. So that's what the corridor is. Then we pull off our blockouts off of those lines. MEP has templates they pull off them as well.
Damn cool. Not the fault engineers. Alright, talk to me.
this is the mark. After this table is put in, we chain this mark up. We chain this mark up we started on floor 6, and since it was getting so long, we had to break chain. We decided we wanted to break chain once, and we broke it at 19. And we found out that our elevation was still within the 16th, so we're very happy with that. When we take this elevation, and we'll transfer it out to all our floor walls and everywhere else when the table is nice and calm and nobody's here. It also helps, we'll give them a 4-foot down for a 1 foot off top of slab, so they can grade to that. We'll shoot this mark all the way around. That way we can shoot in our edge form and make sure it's proper to where we raise the tables from below. It's a good double check. This is the only elevation we use whenever we do anything off a finished floor. This is the elevation we use for final elevations when we go back. After we do black line, we'll also put in a final elevation transferred off of this mark.
Well, normally we set up about 2 brackets per floor. For each floor, we separate the floors into 2 floors. So we have 2 brackets for each floor, and we use a bracket to set the laser level on top of. And before we pour concrete, we shoot all our blockouts, and our blockouts should be about 5/8 to a ½ inch high because there's a pre-camber in the cast lights down there. And so it's also a good check because if it's not around that measurement, then we know we probably leveled the tables wrong. And then once we pour the concrete, we use the same brackets to level out the concrete with the laser eye. And we've been noticing our slabs are coming out really tight. It's usually consistently about an 1/8 high to an 1/8 low. And we usually, I mean, we'll get a variation now and then, but you'd be surprised how tight it comes out every time.
One's right there.
See the one set up over there?
Talk to me about your master floors here.
All right, well, the first master floor that we had was level 6, and then we transferred it up to 13, and now it's 20. And the reason we had to keep jumping up the master floor that we laser the control from is because the dot starts to get way too big on the laser. 13 to 20 was kind of a push because the laser dot was getting to be about 3/16 in diameter. And now that we jumped it up to 20 on 23, it was about pin size. So you know exactly where your center's at. That's pretty important.
So all your control from 7th floor through the 13th floor was brought up from the 6th floor, correct?
Correct.
Another reason to keep jumping it, like we had a problem on 14, they were putting overhead mechanical in. So the mechanical guys were coming in, their sleeves, or their pipes were covering up our sleeves, so we were gonna get to the point where we couldn't laser through them anyway. So it was time to jump it for that reason, plus the accuracy of the dot. Now, like we're back to, it's pin size, so you can set right up the TS right up on it and get it turned perfectly.
Not to mention safety. Every time we had a safety audit, that always got nailed because we always had these 3-inch sleeves that were open. And so it's also nice to start to be able to cover those.
Yeah, now all of our sleeves are patched up to 19. We have no use for them anymore since everything we do is off 20. So all those are patched up again, and everything's shot up to 20. It's been a problem with it so far.
So what's the magic number? How far is that laser really good to
I'd say in the book it says it'll shoot 180 feet, but that's not practical for what we're doing. I'd think 50 feet probably. Yeah. 5 floors would probably be ideal.
I'd say 5 floors should be top. So we're talking about doing our next master floor at 25, and that'll probably carry us to the very top.
And once you start shooting up like that, your dot will do a little dance. It'll kind of do a circle, then it'll settle down, it'll dance around a little bit. Another thing to remember is once you're setting up, we always set it up once and we'll rotate it 2 different times. So if there's any air shooting, out of plumb, we'll catch it all 3 sides and we'll go right in the middle of all 3 dots.
Yeah, and that's actually extremely important because a lot of times when we'll mark the 3 points, it'll make a little triangle. So your first dot was not right on. But the center of it is good. Yeah, it took out the air, rotating it 3 times.
So you do rotate it 3 times before you set your...
Yeah, we do pretty much there's 3 sides to the tripod, do one per side.
All right.
And then that way if your machine's out of calibration, doesn't matter, you're still doing, accurate work.
10-4.
And
okay, hit it.
Good. All right, you can see Rob over here. He's set up with our green laser. He's shooting in the edge form over there to see how the elevation is. That edge form is always a little tricky because it's a separate table below it. But so he's over there, moving the laser to where it needs to be, and then you can read, if you're off 1/2 inch, 5/8. Theoretically, we should be 1/2 inch to 5/8 high because of the camber. But that's the actual process. You walk from bay to bay, and he's got a guy below right now who's jacking that table up to get it where it needs to be.
10-4. Laser right there.
And that's the exact same process we use when we're finishing the concrete, like Alan was saying. We'll set that to finished floor, we'll pop it on there. If it's deep and high, it needs to come higher. If it's deep and low, it needs to come lower. So just that stick alone, we get it, within an 1/8 inch across the board on our concrete finishing. Yep.
All right, what am I looking at on this column over here?
All right, you can see this red tape. That's another thing we do. We'll come through on every corner of our column. We'll put a piece of tape down with that laser just like that. We'll shoot it to where it is, mark it a dot, and then we'll wrap that tape around it. And that is where the bottom of that tape is where the top of the finished floor should be. And it's nice for when we're pouring. The finishers use it a little bit, but mostly the guy with the cannon, that's shooting from the pump, he's shooting the mud in. He can have an eye of where he needs to get his level up to. So it helps the process go through. That combined with the green light we put in around the cores makes a pretty good system.
So you are going to go ahead and snap elevation?
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. We'll have a green line around the core there. That's going to be a 1 foot offset higher, and that's when the finishers have a 1 foot rod with a nail on it. They can pull right off that to get their elevation.
And is there someone with a laser as they're pouring?
Yeah.
That's how they're setting their wet screeds out in the middle?
Yep. Pretty much every 10 feet or so, we'll stop and pop the laser on, make sure they're good. And then same thing, we'll go off our edge forms. As we'll shoot the laser in on the edge forms. We'll have a guy below. He'll lock them off when they get where they're supposed to be. And a lot of times they can just read off those edge forms if they're close enough.
Yeah.
10-4. All right, guys, how many engineers does it take on this tower to achieve this level of accuracy? pieces? How many we got just
Well,
on the tower?
You know, to be honest with you, we did it with 3 for about a month. We just got Tim last week, and I think you can easily do it with 3. That surprised a lot of people for the magnitude of this project, but you can do it with 3 people.
3 people on the tower.
Yep.
But
And yeah, it's nice to have a fourth just for the little stuff like the as-builds and stuff like that you know, it's easy to get behind. But if you have 3 people that are dialed in, like we got a pretty good system where we work well together and whatnot. And it's nice having 4 too, because those 4s do kind of they'll you know, catch up to you if you're getting up at 3 in the morning twice a week to do 4s. You know,
and
not
work
a good way to
until
do it.
5:30 at night.
Like right now we've got 4. We got teamed up. Me and Alan do the North Core. Tim and Rob do the South Core. So you know, it's only once every 6 days you're coming in early for a 4.
Yeah.
So it's pretty manageable.
And that's another important thing. Every day after the pour, once we lay out all the columns and get all that set, we come back and do a deck as-built elevation the very same day. And we do that after every pour. And then the next day after the pour, we do a curtain wall as-built. So we try to keep right up with our as-built. We also do a core as-built also, because if the core's getting off at all, we want to know as soon as possible, especially since it's already usually 2 to 3 floors ahead of us.
All right, talk to me about core control. What are we providing them for core control?
Well, the foreman will ask us every once in a while to give him a place where he can plumb bob in the core. Right now it's at level 19, and what we did was we found out where the core was supposed to be and pulled 6 inches off north and south, and then also east and west, and made a dot there. We did that with the total station. And so then he can just put his plumb bob down and figure out where he needs to be. And we do that with every corner in the entire core.
So you give them that. How many floors between times you do that for them?
To be honest with you, since I've been here,
We're just at 19 since I've been here.
Yeah.
He's probably due for a new one, actually.
Yeah.
I bet you this floor, next floor, will put another one. They'll put a little platform in the core, you know, that we can put his mark on. He plumb bob straight down to it, and it's another efficient way of doing it. Seems to work pretty well.
And on your as-belts, how tight's our core from top to bottom? As far as within tolerance, as far as how far out?
It's within tolerance. I wouldn't say, as far as layout goes, I haven't seen anything over an inch. Like an inch would be pretty extreme. Most of the time, I'd say it runs within a quarter.
Yeah.
So the core's coming out really tight. So, which is impressive, since I mean it's the only control we really give the carpenters doing the core is that plumb bob. So he's really doing a lot with that.
Yeah, it's a good quality wall, just like the deck.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yep.
All right, go for it.
I think the one thing that helps us the most is column layout, because when we're done with our pour, we get off this slab at about 8:30, and we're back up here at 9:30, pounding the sleeves up from below, we hit them up, and we're bringing our lines up, then we start getting down with that. We have to kind of stay with the flow of the concrete as it dries. Once that concrete starts drying, our column guy is flying his columns up, getting them wrapped around his columns, and he needs our layout as fast as he can go, because now we've gotten our speed up to where we're ahead. Now we can get all 24 columns done in one day. We can get our cores poured in one day, which allows our table crew the next day to focus on flying tables up, and they can fly a whole table, a whole floor of columns up in one day, which allows us to get rough control up a lot faster and stay ahead of the MEP, so we can go do a lot of our as-builts we have.
Yeah, and you're on this slab as soon as we got without leaving footprint.
Yeah,
That's real.
I mean, we're falling right behind the people who are finishing it, and the carpenters are right behind us. A lot of times they'll have the forms on before we even get a chance to lay it out. So we just we just give them foot offsets. That's all the layout we give them, is the foot offsets all the way around. They're just right on us. I mean, as soon as you can step on it, we're on it. And that's why it's also important to do all your checks the day before you pour, because if something's not working out, you're kind of screwed, because it has to be right as soon as you step up on the deck, so you have no time to mess around with it.
And pour.
What we'll do with this rod, this line right here is shot from our elevation. So the bottom of this piece of wood is where that's hitting our laser, that is finished floor. So we'll take this while they're pouring their concrete, and our decks have a 5/8 camera built in the middle. What we'll find is we'll be pouring and pouring and pouring, and all of a sudden it'll just drop a half inch.
So it doesn't come out nice and smooth, it just drops.
It'll go, especially on the south side. Alan's seen it, we've dropped 3/4 of an inch, and sometimes we caught it, sometimes we've been unlucky and not caught it, but we'll level our table just to make sure we're okay. We'll come and check all these tables. See where it's shooting, we'll adjust it. Say it's shooting at a 1/2 inch high right now, and we'll mark a 1/2 inch here the day before. One, so we know, hey, we do it again, say we did a bad backside taping up on our rod, we'll know that something's wrong, but also our foreman's down below doing pull shores, and as soon as that hits finished elevation, he shores the pull shores up, and that is supposed to keep the table from dropping below. So that way the table will stay flat, and we know from where we pour to, we're good and shored up, and our table shouldn't drop any further down.
So you've got a guy down below with the loose pull shores.
He sets about a 1/2 inch, 5/8 low. We'll communicate to him what drop we're seeing on our blockouts and our edge form. And as soon as it gets within we're happy with, where it's right on at a 1/2 inch or 5/8, he'll lock that up for us. We'll call it good. And from there on, we should be good with that table.
And we've added those post shores since we started. We originally didn't have those involved in this forming system,
We
correct?
have full shores on all our transverse trusses. And on our 9-inch slabs, we're seeing pretty bad deflection. We're full shored 2 floors below. And there's 4 full shores in the middle of each bay where our 9-inch slabs are and around our placement.